It's Bonner again, and today we're going to talk about the right hand. So one of the things that we really need to learn how to do if we're playing fingerstyle is we really need to learn how to manage our right hand, how to control our right hand, get our right hand to do the things that we want it to do. The right hand is the pivotal piece of playing fingerstyle guitar, and it's really important to build up a tremendous amount of skill in the right hand. The good news is that it's actually a well-developed practice. There's lots of information and exercises that can get you going very, very quickly. One of the things I'll show in one of the coming lessons is you can actually build up right hand skill while you're learning to play the song you want to play. So you don't have to spend 6 months building up right hand and then start playing your song. So let's talk about what right hand is, okay? So let's talk about your right hand. There's a very brief introduction. There's going to be numerous other short lessons that are going to show you some exercises and stuff to do. The first thing I want you to work on is just getting your right hand into the right position. So here's what I'm doing. I'm resting my forearm. You sort of can't see it very well, but I'm resting my forearm on the lower bout of the guitar, and you can see my hand is pointing in a slight upward direction, so my hand's hanging over the sound hole. Now, in practice, I'm going to move it back here and hope that you can see that. We want to be at the back half of the sound hole, more or less, or near the back of the sound hole towards the bridge, little bit. So somewhere in this zone here, and what we're going to do is we're going to have our arm angled up like a crane, like the crane that picks up toys in that game at the grocery store, okay? And then what's going to happen is we're going to hang our fingers down like this, and the motion that, and I'm stealing a lot of these ideas are taught in classical right hand technique. This is just a simplified version or a streamlined version. We're going to use a lot of the same techniques because they already developed the techniques and the techniques work. So here's what we do. We have our hand like this, and what they suggest you practice doing is just make this motion. Just make this motion. Now, you don't have to make it very big because all our motions when we're playing guitar are going to be very, very small. But you just want this slight squeezing the hand, the thumb pointing forward, the fingers pulling up like this. Now what we do is we're going to learn something called the home position or the rest position. This is a cornerstone of everything we're going to do. This is an accelerator. It makes it easier to play. Put your thumb pointing forward on the A string, pointer on G, middle on B, ring on E, like this. And they're in a kind of a diagonal row. You see how they're in a diagonal row? That's where they're going to naturally fall because of their differing lengths. Okay? Keep the fingers somewhat straightened, as you can see my fingers are. And all we want to do is, the first thing we're going to do is put our fingers on there, and you want to get into the habit of every time that you're going to start to play fingerstyle, put your fingers on that place to start, and then lift them up a little. Put them on that place to start. What you're doing is you're teaching your fingers where the strings are, and it doesn't take them very long to learn. Next, step 2, what we're going to do is we're just going to practice playing some simple patterns, and I'll give you some simple patterns, and there are worksheets that you can send for. Just send me a message and I'll send you a free PDF of the worksheets that I'm going to use. But to start with, you don't need any worksheet, okay? To start with, what we're going to do is we're just going to play thumb, pointer, middle, ring, just like this. Now I'm open tuned, so it doesn't sound like your guitar. And what you'll notice is my fingers stay quite extended. I'm not making a motion like this. I'm not using the muscles of the end part of the finger. I'm trying to use this motion like this hinge motion. So the motion is coming out of the muscles in my upper hand and in my forearm, and not out of my fingertips. All my fingers are doing, my finger muscles are doing, is aiming where the fingers go. And we're going to train them to go on certain strings. Now, this is just a generic pattern that we're learning. We're going to learn how to use this pattern for many different things. So none of this stuff is carved in stone. This is just our starting point. This is just where we begin to train our right hand. So put your thumb down on A, and then we're going to go thumb, G, B, E, and then we're going to put our hand back down again, and now I'm going to go thumb, ring finger, middle, pointer. Okay, so I'm going thumb, then I'm doing it backwards. Thumb. Okay, and so that's a very, very simple exercise you can do. Another simple exercise that you can do, and just do these exercises as a warm-up. Do it half a dozen times before you start playing whatever song you're working on. Just do this. Do it nice and slowly. Keep your fingers long. Get the motion happening from this hinge squeeze motion that's happening here. Keep your fingers close to the strings. One of the hardest things we have to do is find our position relative to the string with either hand. So the way we make that easier is keep your hand low. Never lift your hand more than half an inch off the strings, at the most, okay? The principle of optimum laziness dictates that we make no unnecessary motion. So start off with your fingers down, thumb on A, pointer on G, middle on B, ring on A, E, high E, and then we're going to do the same thing backwards. Thumb, ring, middle, pointer. So you can go. Okay, that's the basis. That is the absolute foundation of what you need to get good at. And come back and because I'm going to do some more mini lessons in this series that are going to give you little by little some more tips on how to build this skill up even more quickly and how to incorporate it into learning songs. So the reason we're working on these right hand issues, you know, anyone who knows me as a teacher knows I am not interested in teaching you technique that is not immediately applicable or not contextually relevant to the song that you're working on. Okay, there's no point. I'm not interested in giving you drills that you might use one day. I'm interested in teaching you a few minimal techniques that are necessary for you to execute the song you're playing or trying to play or trying to learn. And so that's what this has all been brought about by. I have run across this comment from numerous professional fingerstyle composers saying, you know, I'm up against the limits of my technique. I'm writing stuff that's beyond my technique. And it sounds like a terrible admission for a guitar player to make. I have been in the same position. It's very easy for your imagination, for you to imagine a song that is more sophisticated than your hands are accustomed to playing. And it sounds disastrous. It is not disastrous. Okay, and when you're first learning fingerstyle, that is the situation you are always in. You're listening to a song, maybe you're listening to a Glenn Jones song or an Alex DeGrassi song or whoever, Bruce Cockburn song, and it sounds fantastic and you love the song. And then you start to play it and you realize, hey, wait a minute, I can't do those things that Bruce Cockburn is doing or Alex DeGrassi is doing or William Tyler is doing. You can learn those things. You can learn them very, very quickly. And really, it's the best way to learn music, in my opinion, is to be motivated to work on a song. And as long as it's not really miles and miles beyond where your technical abilities are, you can very rapidly build up technical skill there. So that's why we're doing this. That's why we're working on this, is so that we can, on a sort of just-in-time basis, we have some techniques and some strategies to rapidly build a skill bridge between where our skills are today and the skills we need to have some mastery of in order to be able to play the song that we're in the middle of learning. So that's what this is about. And I'm Bonar, and this is the first of a whole series of lessons, and I'm going to be using William Tyler's Waltz of the Circassian Beauties, which is the piece I played at the beginning, as an example. And I'm going to work through a number of the patterns because he uses a number of right-hand patterns in that song. And when you first listen to it, they sound very challenging. And as you'll discover, with a small amount of practice, they make great right-hand exercises, and they're not really too challenging, a little bit challenging. So I'll see you next time.